Some dads to get closer to their kids is actually creating bridges between dads and some dads and their kids. We found that some dads just send money, provide financially and otherwise, but really are absent. And the statistics shows us that young kids coming from absent father or fatherless homes are going through a lot.
Wait, say that again. I just want to recap quickly.
Yeah.
So you called single dads because you're absent emotionally, and all you're doing is you're just providing funds.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, not all single dads are like that, but we see that parenting for especially young single dads is taking a position that as long as I supply provision, money or financial resources, and I'm okay, and then my life moves on.
Yeah.
And also we found that most single moms, the custody or the child care defaults to the mom, and then fathers
the primary
caregivers, and then the fathers just move on with their lives.
So there's
we're trying to stop that.
Yeah. So there's very rare, because I see and I follow him on TikTok.
Sure.
Lucas Radeb.
Oh, okay.
He's always doing videos with his daughter.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And he's
And
a single.
son.
And
Yeah.
son.
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's coming to my show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what type of a single dad would you put him under?
Yeah, well, so single date is not about marital status or whether you're dating or not. So as long as you're raising a child either on your own or co-parenting with someone else, but where the child does not live with both of you. So it's not about the relationship. So Lucas and others that are raising either co-parenting with someone else fit in our definition. Our definition of single fathers are those fathers that are either primary caregivers by themselves or co-parenting with someone else whom they don't live with.
So that's interesting. Why is it, do you think, that single parents, single mothers rather, are often given the label single mothers, but dads is just like, oh,
It's stereotypes. It's stereotypes. Even the courts, through separation or divorce, the courts will not think twice to send the custody to the mom. In fact, a friend of mine who has been going through a divorce, he had to fight through the courts 4 years to take custody. He had to prove to the court that the mother was not psychologically or mentally stable or even financially fit to take custody. But the courts kept on saying, no, it has to be.
I want to find out more about that. We just need to take a short break and unpack really why is that and how do we try to get that stigma over. What's the way forward in trying to help to get that stigma out? Obviously, dads, in terms of, if we look at the stats and all the stuff they've done, it's quite a difficult thing to change overnight. It's an ongoing conversation. Actually quite shocked that it's paid up with Youth Day. That really, the last time that happened, I think it's about 2 years ago. So it's quite cool that there's also this great initiative that Sthembiso is doing, especially celebrating modern dads who take their role in a high esteem, because it's important for me. That's one of the reasons why I don't have a child at all. Is because
what's one of the reasons, Mo?
One of the reasons for me is that I want to be 100% sure that I will be there for the kid.
Definitely.
Because I never had that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a selfishness that comes with it. But that's really the main reason for me for not having a kid, and also to also make sure that financially that one is completely 100%, because people are quick to make babies, and then when the child's here, you can't even buy the Pampers.
Can one ever be 100% sure, though, Sthembiso? I mean, I wonder about that, because one minute you could have money, you could be a business owner. Tomorrow the business falls by the wayside. Emotionally as well, and you can never guarantee that your partner will never want to walk away, right?
That's true.
Is there a certain level of certainty that one can have?
It's a chance. It's a decision you're making. It's a chance you take. I always say parenting has got very little to do with affordability, and being provision sometimes just means that yes, you provide, but when you provide time and access to the child, it changes everything. And I don't know if you've read about my story. I was an absent father. By absent father, I mean that my kids were raised by my family. And
by your mother?
My side of the family, yes.
Sure.
Yeah. And I didn't have a relationship with them. So it just occurred at some point. I think I returned overseas and my daughter was 12. She tried to introduce me to a friend. She was conflicted. She couldn't figure whether she could introduce me by name or as dad. And that hit hard. And I had to make a decision that this needs to change. And it is on that day that I decided it's going to be different now. But I also challenged her to do something about it so that it became a two-way thing.
So what did she end up introducing you as?
I think she just called me by name.
Wow.
Yeah, and it didn't sit well with me.
That's deep. Yeah, that would have made me cry.
Yeah.
That would have definitely made me. We as men, we are emotional.
Of course.
Believe it or not. Why did you start this initiative?
Because it's been on my mind, emoji, for many years. Because when I turned that corner and I looked in my society, in my community, even in my own family, my brothers were just sending stuff, sending gifts, and it occurred to me that it can't be okay. And I said there could be another father who was in my situation elsewhere that doesn't know how to turn the corner. Then I had to make a decision. I only actually launched the network, the movement, in 2023. But it's been in my mind for about 6 years, and now, as you can imagine, it's moved, and we're creating more awareness. It's really about creating or establishing conversations where we demystify the notion that fathers or dads are not inherently
caring, or not inherently caring.
Yeah.
I like that. So, Moji, just 2 seconds. I like that inherently, what is innate in us, because I think that's why then the courts also default to saying the primary caregiver will be the mother, because innately we're caregivers.
They just think we're providers. We're not inherently able to nurture and raise kids.
Yeah, and
that's a stigma. No, we differ very, very, very strongly. In fact, a friend of mine who's not here is raising 3 kids by himself, and another friend of mine is raising his 7-year-old daughter by himself, and they're doing just fine.
Okay. When you do is it talks?
Yeah, I've got a podcast, we've got a website, we've got a community online, we've got a forum, and we are on all socials. We've got more so far. Or single dads find us on YouTube.
Because I strongly believe, first and foremost, and I love your initiative, that something like this as well, the Department of Education needs to get involved.
Sure.
And some of these talks should actually be taking place even at a primary school level.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we are talking enough, and that's why you get and you end up fighting in courts, single dads fighting in court.
Yes.
Because it's not normalized.
No. We've actually started an initiative of a boy child. I was talking on another podcast where we said we catch single dads at mid-30s or mid-40s, but there's an oversupply of young people that don't know anything about parenting. So prevention is better than treatment. So we're working with schools. Obviously, we don't have budgets for everyone, but we're trying to work with
But
schools.
the Department of Education has budget.
Well, hopefully they'll reach out.
They've got budget.
Let's talk about the network and the work that it does. So, I mean, you say you're basically exposed, right? Sure. And you are spreading the word about what you do. But what is it that you do? What does the network seek to do?
Well, the network seeks to build bridges between kids and their fathers, but also to make the single moms aware that they should try to create an environment where fathers want to reach to their kids. I get a lot of young people, young and old, saying to me, how can your network help us regain access? Because they go through the mom usually. Whether the child has a cell phone or not, somehow single fathers think that they need to seek permission from the mom to speak to or to spend time with the child. We're trying to demystify the idea that we have to go through that route, especially if the child is big enough. They can make their own decisions that I want to come and fetch you or I want to visit. The second thing that we're doing is to create awareness around this thing that we just discussed. Fathers also can nurture and raise kids. And it's not a gender role, and it's a parenting role. And we are also creating an awareness with the single moms that if you block access because most moms that I speak to, they say, I'm wearing 2 hats and I'm doing fine. It's not possible to be a father and mother to the same
100%.
child. It's not biologically and physically possible. So we always say, even if you've got a squabble and issue with the dad, the child should not suffer. It should always be in the interest of the child. And parenting has got nothing to do with emotions. Remove emotions from it. make sure that the father has access. 90% of homeless kids that we see in the streets come from fatherless homes.
I must tell you that even from a spiritual perspective, the lack of fathers and its impact extends beyond just physical, social, economic. You see it really extends beyond all of that, and both for men and women. So even the fathers that you see, I mean, such as yourself, I don't know if you grew up in a
no, I had a mother and father. I'm a big family.
Yeah,
and I didn't have I had access to my father, but I didn't have a relationship with him.
Something that I worry about the kind of I want to say caliber of men that go through your network as well. I mean, as much as you are advocating for their rights, are you ensuring that these are healthy men to gain access to their children? Because that is a concern. I would imagine that from a mother's perspective, if you're saying you're going through straight to the child, I need to ensure that you're okay. Of course. You keep your word, blah, blah, blah.
Can you hear the mother part now, eh? Yeah, you heard that part.
I'm glad she asked it, because most mothers say, no, you guys are hot and cold. Yeah. It depends on your mood. Yeah. Sometimes you want to be present, sometimes you don't show up. So yes, we've got a panel of experts on our network.
What types? Yeah.
Doctors, psychologists, parenting psychologists, clinical psychologists. So before I started the network, I had to look for these people, and I said, would you be able to form part of my network and provide pro bono help? So obviously we don't screen everyone, but we get all kinds of dads coming to us and say, no, help me. And I've been to the courts. I'm still blocked. And one young man last week, and I spoke at the empowerment conference, he said, I'm 19 years old, we're raising a 2-year-old, I've been blocked over the phone, and I can't. Why? Because I don't pay maintenance. And then again, that's another notion that some of the moms, I'm hoping they're listening, the fact that he does not pay maintenance does not mean that he should not have access to the child. And because he's got all the rights to have access to the child, regardless whether he lives with him or her, or whether he pays him for maintenance or not.
I've got a friend exactly in that situation. It doesn't matter if there's no money. He's emotionally, at least, if he's wanting to see the kids, why not?
Absolutely.
All right, if we want to find out more about your initiative.
Yes, deadconnections.org, and then on all socials, including YouTube, Single Dads Network.
Okay, when's your next? I hear you are working with Empower Works on Empower Men.
Yes, we had an event in March, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we're going to be at the South African Podcast and Festival tomorrow and Saturday, and we've got
with DJ Smooth.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Nicholas.
Exactly, we're gonna have a booth there. We're gonna be inviting some of the moms and some of the dads as well to come to our studio.
And just in terms of Father's Day gift ideas.
Yeah,
do you want socks and ties?
Anything that can help us actually form a community and bring the. In fact, we've got a hike on Saturday for some of the dads. So some of the dad and the son. Starting at 7 o'clock, and then this is gonna be a nice one because it's a precursor to Sunday.
Lovely.
That's great. I remember I just thought of something that I used to do. Jeeps and dads.
Jeeps and what's that?
Yeah, so we'd take fathers and sons, go on like this Jeep trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I form part of the Jeep network, but we haven't done it with the son. So this is the first initiative and again, before I leave, the bonding happens when you spend time together and do activities together, not just spending time.
Yeah, I remember.
So these kinds of activities actually create bonding, and that's what we're trying to promote.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Kudos on your initiative, and definitely continue to do the great work.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.